My name is Mohammed Hanif Arien, and I was born in Kampala, Uganda. I was 19 years old when I came to England. That is 1970 October 4th, 1972, when we arrived at Stansted Airport.
And who did you live in Kampala with?
I lived with my parents, my dad and my mom, and I started work when I was about 16 years old. Yeah, what can I say? That was the life we had in Uganda. I went to school in Uganda.
How many brothers and sisters did you have?
We were 4 brothers and mashallah 8 sisters. And from my father's second marriage, he had 2 more sisters we have. And mashallah, we are all 14 in a family. This is my dad's picture. He used to work for Coca-Cola company back in Kampala, Uganda. And he came with us here in England. My mother, she passed away when we were only, I think I was 14, 15 years old.
What was school like, primary school?
The school, I finished the school in very early age, about 15 years old when I left the school. I was in primary school. When we went to secondary school, I only did a couple of years, that's 2 years in secondary school.
What was primary school like?
Primary school was all right. I've got all that memories, where we used to go to the school, and we used to play all sorts of sports in school. Very active in sports, football, volleyball, and that's about I can say. Yeah.
Was it a mixed school?
Yeah, it was a mixed school. And
what was your favourite subject?
Really none. Because the education over there was very expensive. We had to pay. There was a fee for the schools and all that. Being a big family, it was very difficult for the parents to, send all the kids to school. That's the reason I finished the school earlier.
Did you have to pay for primary school also?
Yeah, oh yeah, we have to pay for the school fees. And we had to buy our own books and everything. And we were a big family. It was difficult for my dad to support all of us, being a big family. And then we decided, when I was about 15, 16 years old, I decided, I can't leave him working on his own. So me and my brother, we started work as well to support my dad.
Just going back to primary school for a minute, did you have any school trips?
Not really. I can just remember when Queen Elizabeth, she came, to visit Uganda. And all the schools, we went to receive her. That was on the airport, all the school, we had a school trip with all schools, but went and lined up, receiving the Queen Elizabeth. I can remember that time when she came to Uganda.
Do you remember
I think it was 1965 or 66. I can't remember now. That's the school trip I can remember.
How did it make you feel thinking you was going to visit a queen?
Well, I think the independence was coming nearer, and that's why she came the last time to Uganda.
And high school, what was that like?
High school was okay. It was a old Kampala secondary school where I had 2 years over there, and then I thought I might go for some sort of a course. And over there you have to pay for everything. And then being, big family, I decided, it was better for me to start working. And that's when I started working, yeah.
In the school holidays, did you manage to ever go on holiday?
Yeah, in school holidays we used to go to the relations. We had an auntie, she used to live about 100 kilometers. We still, I can, just when I go back, I can just remember that time, still can remember them times.
You said you and your brother started to work. What did you do?
I was a motor mechanic. I started as a motor mechanic over there.
How did that all begin?
Well, in Uganda, everybody wanted to be some technical job, they wanted to be a technicians. And I was suggested to be a mechanic. And I thought I liked that job. And that's where I started with my uncle in his garage. And from there, then I started working for a company. And then after a couple of years, then we had to leave Uganda.
What did you used to like doing in your spare time when you was in Uganda?
In Uganda, we had a very good life, In the evening when you used to come from work, you could go fishing, you could go hunting,
Where did you used to go?
There was a lake near our house. They used to call it Kabaka Lake, but it's King's Lake. King used to have a lake, and we used to go fishing over there. And sometimes we used to go with our uncles hunting. And
what kind of things did you hunt for? Which type of animals?
Well, sometimes they used to go hunting deers and guinea fowls, ducks, and there was a lot of game in Africa, very wildlife, there is a lot of wildlife. At that time, I don't think there was any restriction on hunting, but there is now, now you can't go shooting. Only you can hunt is ducks and guinea fowls and things like that. But big game, you can't go and hunt the big game now.
Which did you prefer, hunting or fishing?
Well, we loved everything. Being a kid, you love everything. Wherever you go, you love going anywhere. You want an excuse to go anywhere. So we had a good life.
At what age did you start hunting and fishing?
Well, we were still in school, when we started this. We used to go with our uncles hunting. On Easter, we used to have a right good do. We had an uncle who used to live in Kampala. They were about 250 kilometers away from our city, and we used to go with him. We went with him a lot of hunting with him, and he was a professional hunter.
Just going back to Uganda, what were the authorities like with you, and what were your neighbourhood like?
Uganda?
Yeah.
Well, the authority, everything was all right till President Amin came in power. That's when everything went, That's when the problems started,
Did you ever encounter any problems?
No, not really, no. The locals were all right, the people, our neighbors. We had African neighbors and all that. They were nice people, We got on with everybody nicely, We never had any problems.
In Uganda, you said you used to go fishing. Can you tell us anything that happened when you went fishing?
Yeah, we had a boat in River Nile, and it was my cousin's, and he decided to sell it because we were told to leave the country, and we tried going and selling the boat. On the way back, we were coming. At that time, it was curfew. You couldn't move after 7 o'clock. And when we were coming on Jinja Road, we were stopped by the soldiers, the President Idi Amin's soldiers, and they told us, can you go and stand in the queue over there? And he says, who's the driver? I was driving at the time. And he says, right, you stand over there, I'm going to shoot everybody, kill all of you. And it was me, my cousin, and 2 other Africans with us. And we thought that was the end of our life, you know, they were going to shoot us. And I don't know, when he asked me, you know, where is your license? And I just mentioned Salim. When I mentioned Salim, he says, who's Salim? I said, my cousin. And he says, are you Muslims? I said, yes, we are. And we're glad they were Muslims as well, you know, them soldiers. They said, you know, if you are Muslim, I'll let you go. I don't want to see you next time over here. And we were really very lucky to get away from there.
What time was the curfew from?
7 o'clock in the evening. And it was around about that time.
Did you ever hear about anybody getting shot?
Oh, a lot of people were shot, yeah. They used to take people away, lock them in the boot and take them away.
Who did?
The soldiers. At that time, you know, they used to take your cars away and everything. It was really risky at that time, when in them 90 days when he told us to leave the country. It was the bad times at that time, yeah.
Did anything happen with you or anybody that you know?
Well, this is the incident that happened with us, you know, that we were lucky to get away, you know. Once you were stopped by soldiers, that's it, you know, you could think, you know, that's the end of your life. And we were lucky, you know, they let us go.
What was it like when you first got told that you would have to leave Uganda?
Well, we thought it was a joke, you know, because we lived our life in Uganda. We thought he wasn't a serious president. I mean, we didn't think he was serious about it. And then when we started seeing, you know, everybody leaving the country, and there was the panic then we started going to the British High Commissioner to make our paperwork, you know, passports and everything. And then that's how we came to England.
Being such a big family, did you all come at the same time?
Yeah, we all came at the same time. That is in October 4th, 1972, when we first arrived in England. That was the Stansted Airport.
How did you feel thinking you was about to leave everything that you know at the age of 19 back in Uganda, and the journey from the airport to... Did you have any animosity, and how were the neighbours with you?
Well, the thing is, you know, it was very, very difficult because you had to leave everything behind. The only amount of the money one family could bring was, you know, 45 pounds. That's all you could bring with you, and there it was very, very difficult. And when we first arrived to Stansted Airport, we didn't think this country was that cold. I can remember wearing just a jacket, and I thought that was enough. And when we came out of the plane, it was freezing. And thank goodness to the British government, they supported us very well. They did everything they could do for us. We appreciate what the British government did for us.
As soon as you landed at Stansted Airport,
Yeah.
what happened then? Because did you have family here?
No, we didn't have anybody. We had to step into the terminal, and then we were told, you know, they were going to take us to the camps. And we were taken to Berkshire in Newbury. There was the camp where we went. All the family, all of us, we went there, and we were given the rooms and everything over there. And next morning they said, if you need any clothing, jackets, anything, come to there was a center where they were giving us all the clothing, you know, if we needed bigger jackets and all that, coats, overcoats. And then we stayed there for, I think, 3-4 weeks in the camp. And then we had somebody, one of my brother-in-law, he had some relations in Rochdale, and he suggested you better come to Rochdale. And then he came over and told my dad, you could come to the Rochdale. Is a nice place, quiet place, and you can go and settle down there. And when my dad came over, and then we all followed him, we all came to Rochdale, and the life started from Rochdale then.
What happened to all your stuff that was in Uganda where you used to live?
Well, we had to leave everything behind. We only brought our clothing, and that's about it. If there was anything else you could leave behind, there was nothing you could carry. All the things we brought was just the clothing, and that's it.
Can you remember the journey to the airport that day when you was leaving your house?
Yeah, from Kampala, Entebbe airport is around about 21 miles, which takes an hour. And when we got to the airport and we were checked everything, we went through the customs and all that. Thank goodness we didn't have we were not carrying golds or anything like that, so we didn't have any problem. It was only clothing, so we went through. And when we sat in the plane, we didn't know where we were going. For us, it was, we didn't know, we left our home, and we never knew where we were going to land and where we were going to go.
And when you got to Berkshire and you was told, come to Rochdale, how did you feel about that?
Well, they said, if you come to Rochdale, you will get a council house, and the life can start. You will find a job. That's what we came to Rochdale. My brother-in-law came first with my sisters, so we thought my sisters are there and my brother-in-law. It's better for us to go there as well. When we first came to Rochdale was a very old town with very little. The roads and everything was very different. And
How was the different?
Well, if you see, Yorkshire was an old market, There used to be open market with stalls and really muddy and all that. If it rained, you couldn't go to the market. It was that bad. And now Rochdale is changed a lot, I don't think our children will remember what Rochdale used to look like. It's a big change from the time we came.
How old was you when you came to Rochdale?
I was 19 years old, yeah.
And what was your neighbours like?
Well, we lived in flats. There's Ashfield Valley flats. We got the council flats in Ashfield Valley flats, and neighbours and everybody was all right. And then we started looking for jobs. And at that time, a lot of people, they only had factory jobs, like those big mills, cotton mills and all that. There was only labourer's job in that time. And I didn't want that sort of a job. I wanted to be a mechanic, and I wanted my own job. And I went looking for a job. I went to Oldham Road. There was a Volvo main dealers where I asked them for a job, and they said, you have to show us your qualifications if you want a job, because we've got expensive cars. We want to know whether you can work on these cars. And I said, you can give me a month's trial. If you don't like me, you can tell me, then that's about it. And they gave me a job. After that, I ended up working over the 16 years with Volvo main dealers. And I've got some of the certificates over there showing, I've done the courses with the Volvo main dealers. And from there, then I always had ambition to start my own business. And then we started over here at Nixon Street Garage. And mashallah, we've been over 35 years in this garage now. And we were the first Asian garage to do MOTs in Rochdale. Well, now we've got many of them about. But at that time, we were the first garage to do MOTs in Rochdale. And all these garages, they used to come to us. It's been a mashallah very busy garage, and it's well-known garage in Rochdale.
When you moved to UK and you was only 19 and started to work, what did you used to do in your spare time?
Well, at that time, kids were, we used to spend time with our kids and take them on holidays. We never went out of England, We used to go to families in London, Brighton, places like that. When I used to have Rochdale holidays, that that was in June. We used to have Rochdale holidays for 2 weeks, and then I used to take them out, to London, Birmingham, and other places where we had some relations. That's the sort of holidays we used to have.
What do you remember about Rochdale as a teenager and growing up?
Well, Rochdale, what can I say about Rochdale? There was at that time we used to only visit the families, in the evenings when we had time, we used to go to my dad's house, and spend more time with my dad and other sisters and brothers. That's the sort of life we had.
So in the UK in the 80s, how did you get used to life? How did you find everything?
Well, what can I say? We had, family life. We've always been a family people. The more we used to go to the family houses, to the uncles and aunties and places like that. That's where you used to sit in the evening and talk and all that. And then we had job to do in the morning. Go to work and come about 5 o'clock. Have dinner, and then after that dinner, just visit the families.
What can you tell us about your personal life?
My personal life, mashallah, I've got 3 kids. I've got 2 daughters, the elder daughter, and there is a son, and there is the younger daughter, and now I've got 4 grandchildren, mashallah, as well. The elder granddaughter is 22 years old now. Yeah. And we're very happy. And mashallah, the kids have grown up and they're doing very well. All 3 of them doing well. And mashallah, they've got a good life as well.
At what age did you get married?
I was 1 year before I came to England, I got married. I was 19 years old when I got married.
What can you remember about the ceremony?
It was a mashallah good big wedding over there, because there they used to have good big weddings with all the families to get together. And I got married in very young age. And mashallah, we've been very happy. Now we've been married 50 years, me and my wife. Yeah, we together with 3 beautiful kids. And mashallah, the kids are grown up. They have got their own kids. They have got their own life. And they are really very close to us.
How old are your children now?
My elder daughter, she is 47. And the son is 46. And the younger one, she is Lena, she is I think she is 36. Yeah, she is the youngest.
Where are your parents originally from?
My father was born in Uganda, and my grandfather, he used to live in the neighbor country in Congo. He used to live in Congo, that is Central Africa. And my father had a transport business when he first started as a transport business, and then When he left this transport business, then he started working for Coca-Cola company.
And your mother, where was she born?
My mother, she was born in Uganda as well. They both born in Uganda.
What's the best memory you've got about your mum?
Well, I've seen so many women, so I don't think, I could ever replace my mom, I can't compare my mom with anybody. The care you get from your mom, you can, all your life you can never forget these things, My dad and my mom, they were so caring people, They loved every children. Our friends, when they used to come home, they were welcomed, They were looked more after them, than she looked after us. So caring. I don't see these things nowadays, People have changed a lot.
Who did your dad live with?
My dad lived with my younger brother, the one who's younger from me. My dad used to live with him, and they used to live on Kingsland Road here in Castleton.
Did he work when he came to UK?
Worked for a bit, my dad.
How do you think people have changed?
Well, you go and see, they will tell you, oh, you are my son, but not really. In old days when they said, you're my son, yeah, they will treat you, really nicely, but, you could feel, that they really care about you and they really love you. These days the things have changed,
What was Eid like in Uganda and Eid like in UK?
Well, the difference is, when you're a kid, you really enjoy the Eid and all that. When you're grown up, it's just over here, you just go for a prayer, and when you come have your dinner and all that. Back in Uganda, we used to get all the families together and we used to go to the trips on Eid. There was a Lake Victoria. We used to go on the beaches. All the families used to go and cook over there, and we used to eat and everything. You spend all day and then come back home in the evening. Used to be, you can remember that, when we were kids, yeah.
What kind of foods did you eat?
Well, they used to make all sorts of foods, and in the evening they used to make tea. We used to have tea, and then they used to take all the kids to the beach, and then we used to go and swim while the parents, sat down talking and all that. Yeah.
And what happened when you celebrated Eid in Rochdale?
Over here is a bit different. The Eid over here is you go to mosque, pray, after that you go to graveyard. From graveyard you come home, have your dinners. Early days, we were big families, But now, the families are getting smaller and smaller. Everybody's moved on, the lives is moved on. Before, in early days, we used to have Eids together as well. One or twice we've arranged the Eid over here in the garage. Call all the families, and we had a Eid party here. And we quite enjoyed all the families, all the brothers, sisters, all relations, But then slowly now it's all changed.
What was your house like in Uganda and what was it like in UK? How did you feel it was so different?
Well, the house in Uganda, we lived with the parents. And
what did it look like?
Well, Ugandan houses, Uganda, when we first came from Uganda, I think, we found England was, maybe 20, 30 years behind, because the lifestyle we had in Uganda was really good. Over there in the evenings, we used to go to the restaurants and go to the drive-in cinemas, and it was really luxury life over there. But in England, when we came, we saw everything, what we heard about England. It was nothing, what people used to tell us.
What had you heard England was like when you was in Uganda?
Well, we thought it was really advanced and all that. But Uganda, when we came from Uganda, I thought Uganda was very advanced because the cities we used to live, nice restaurants, nice cinemas, drive-in cinemas, we used to go all sorts of places. It's really enjoyable life. But when we came here, the life was very different. Here there is only one life. You go to work, and from work you come home, and when you come home you're so tired and the weather doesn't help. So you're sit at home, watch telly.
When did you last go back to Uganda?
I went to Uganda about 8 years ago. And the life has changed over there. It's so much different now. There is so much traffic to the time comparing when we were there. It's so busy to get to one place to the other. It's next to impossible now. MashaAllah, I've got a sister who she lives in Uganda. And we went and we stayed 4 days with her. It was really nice, old memories. Went to see where we used to live, the roads and places,
Has that changed much?
It's completely changed now. Everything is changed. Nothing is the same. There's so many people over there, You can't, if somebody goes, you can't even recognize, where you used to live. Things have completely changed now.
How have they changed?
In a way, before we used to have, gap between houses and places. Now they're so congested, They're next to each other. And the roads and everything, There is not a space left in Kampala now.
In your spare time now, what do you like to do?
No, in my spare time, I really spend more time at home watching television, or sometimes we do go out with friends, get together. We used to go and have barbecue, with friends. Go to trips, like we go to meet our friends in Birmingham. We have got some friends in Stockton, some in London. Sometimes we arrange, once a month, or we go and see them, or they come and see us. We get together, That's the sort of life we've got here.
If you had the choice now, would you live in Rochdale or Uganda?
I'll be happy if I can retire in Uganda. Yeah, because the life is different over there. First of all, the weather. Weather is very important. The weather over there is a tropical country. All year around you have a good weather. You don't have winter, because winter is a bit depressing when you're at home, sitting doing nothing, And when you see out of the window and the weather is so bad, you don't feel like going anywhere. So I think, the life over there for the old people were very good. Our parents, they missed that life, when they first came here. They got depressed when they came here, because the life was very different from the Uganda. Over there, the weather was a really, really good weather. The weather over here is a big problem. A lot of people, don't get... the weather is the big, I would say, that's the thing people look for, a weather. If the weather is good, people enjoy that. But being a winter, I don't think many people, they like winter. When winter comes, people get depressed.
What did you find the hardest thing about being in Rochdale, and what did you miss the most besides the weather from Uganda?
Besides the weather, I can't complain about anything else. Like, if you work hard, you get somewhere, We worked hard, and mashallah, we've got this place. We've been here 35 years, working hard with my brothers, and mashallah, it's good.
What would you like the listeners to remember?
Sorry?
What would you like the listeners to remember about this interview the most? Is there anything you want to share? Any wise words?
Not really, no. I think I've almost told you everything I knew, you know. I could remember I've told you everything. That's about it, you know. That's all I can think of, yeah.
You've done a really good job. Thank you so much, Uncle D, for your time.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.